Hi, my name is Peter Peñarrera and we're going to talk about full study report of Andexanet Alfa for bleeding associated with factor XA inhibitors. The definition: Andexanet alpha is a modified recombinant inactive form of human factor XA developed for reversal of factor XA inhibitors. This is a recombinant modified human factor XA decoy protein that has been shown to reverse the inhibition of factor XA in healthy volunteers. Applications in medicine: 352 patients who had acute major bleeding within 18 hours after administration of an X-factor inhibitor. The patient received a bolus of Andexanet followed by a 2-hour infusion. The primary outcomes were the percentage change in anti-factor XA activity after an Andexanet treatment and the percentage of patients with excellent or good hemostatic efficacy at 12 hours after the end of the infusion, with hemostatic efficacy adjusted on the basis of pre-specified criteria.
Factor Xa inhibitors such as apixaban and rivaroxaban are convenient to take but can cause bleeding complications. Many physicians hesitate to use them because there's no easy way to reverse the effects of treatment in the event of an accident, internal bleeding, or a surgical emergency. Andexanet is a fragment of factor Xa that was designed to rapidly reverse the anticoagulant effects of these inhibitors by preventing their binding to authentic factor Xa. To test the efficacy of Andexanet, a small phase 3 trial was designed with healthy older volunteers as the participants. They were given either 10 milligrams of apixaban or 20 milligrams of rivaroxaban daily until steady-state anticoagulation had been achieved. Then intravenous Andexanet was given to determine whether the effects of these anticoagulants on blood clotting could be reversed, and if so, what the side effects might be. The primary outcome was the mean percent change in anti-factor Xa activity, which was significantly reduced both in participants who received a bolus of Andexanet and in those who received a bolus followed by an infusion of the drug. Participants who received a bolus of Andexanet had fully restored thrombin generation within 2 to 5 minutes, and this effect was sustained while Andexanet was given as an infusion after the bolus. No serious adverse events were noted. The authors conclude that Andexanet reversed the anticoagulant activity of apixaban and rivaroxaban in healthy older volunteers within minutes and for the duration of infusion, without evidence of clinical toxicity. Full trial results are available at nejm.org.
Pro and cons. Andexanet alpha produces a rapid reversal of the anticoagulant effect of Eliquis, as measured by the anti-XA factor activity which was sustained during perfusion. In addition, it significantly reduced the plasma level of free apixaban and reestablished thrombin generation at the normal level. Andexanet alpha was well tolerated with no serious adverse events, thrombotic event, or antibody against X factor or XA report.
Thrombosis.tv coverage continues at the 2015 ISTH conference in Toronto. Joined now by Polly Pine. She is the Senior Director of Pharmacology at Portola Pharmaceuticals. Thanks for coming by and spending some time with us.
Thank you, Tom, for inviting me.
What can you tell us about this research you have?
Okay, so we have been testing Andexanet Alfa and 4-factor prothrombin complex concentrates in an animal model. These animals were anticoagulated with rivaroxaban, and we induced an injury, a liver injury, in these anticoagulated animals, and then we treated them with either Andexanet Alfa or Kcentra. And we used therapeutic dose levels of each of those agents, and we measured blood loss, anti-factor 10A activity, prothrombin time, the unbound anticoagulant levels, the total anticoagulant levels, and also we calculated the stoichiometry of Andexanet to total rivaroxaban needed to completely reverse blood loss.
Polly, how can your primary endpoints be interpreted?
We saw complete reversal of blood loss at therapeutic doses of Andexanet, whereas we really did not see any change, a substantial, significant change in blood loss in animals that were treated with Kcentra as an antidote. And as far as the pharmacodynamic endpoints, anti-factor 10A activity was reduced back to baseline levels when the animals were treated with Andexanet, but there was really no change when the animals were treated with Kcentra. And similarly, the prothrombin time wasn't changed. The anticoagulant levels that were circulating systemically were not changed with Kcentra, whereas Andexanet Alfa reduced the unbound rivaroxaban levels to very, very low levels, 3 nanograms per mil, while they increased the total rivaroxaban levels as there was a shift from the extravascular compartment to the vasculature so that the anticoagulant could be eliminated. So I think the interpretation is that the Andexanet Alfa is able to completely reverse the effects of the anticoagulant, while Kcentra has no effect, no significant effect on reducing blood loss or any of the pharmacodynamic markers in this model.
What's next for Andexanet?
Okay, well, Andexanet is in phase 3 trials, and Portola has just initiated a phase 4 trial in bleeding patients, and the intent is to file a BLA by the end of the year, so hopefully this will be available for patients before long.
Keep us updated, would you?
Okay, thank you.
Polly Pine, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Good
Okay,
luck.
thank you.
Issues apply in Ecuador. This Andexanet Alpha, since the day it was officially released from the FDA, it has helped a lot of people with their bleeding problems. In Ecuador, we don't have too much research to put on, and it is expanding in countries like Argentina, Chile, Peru, and Colombia.
I'm Thomas Baldrick with Thrombosis.tv, continuing coverage of the 2015 ISTH conference in Toronto. We're joined now by Dr. Mark Crowther from McMaster University. Thank you, sir, for coming by.
Thanks very much.
Let's discuss the Annexa study part 2. Would you give us a background and some of the key results?
Absolutely. So the Annexa study is one of an ongoing series of projects which we're doing to look at ways of correcting the blood thinning effect of some of the newer blood thinners. As many of the viewers are probably aware, there's a whole series of new blood thinning medications that have become available in North America, and those drugs are very safe and very effective, but some patients do suffer bleeding complications and others do require surgical procedures while they still have a drug effect present. The Annexa study is designed to help us guide physicians in their care of patients who are at risk of bleeding, who are actively bleeding, with the use of a new agent called Andexanet Alfa. It's a specific agent which has been manufactured to reverse the blood thinning effect of those drugs. And our results here are part of a continuing series of presentations that we've made over the last year or so, showing that the Andexanet Alfa is extremely effective at correcting the blood thinning effect of those drugs.
How does this Andexanet Alfa work?
It's actually a really interesting mechanism of action. So the new blood thinners work by specifically blocking the activity of a single blood coagulation factor called factor 10, and the reversal agents work by actually mimicking factor 10. So they tend to be factor 10, and the blood thinning drug attaches to them and is taken out of the equation so it can't thin the blood.
What other studies have been done with this particular product?
So there's been a whole series of presentations, and basically they've all been aiming towards proving that the drug is safe and effective. So in the first series of studies, we determined what the optimal dose of the drug was for various blood thinning agents. In the second of the series of studies, we then administered the blood thinning drug to healthy volunteers and demonstrated that the Andexanet was able to reverse the blood thinning effect. And now in this experiment, we're taking healthy older volunteers, dosing them to steady state with the blood thinners, and then showing that within 2 minutes of its administration, the Andexanet corrects the blood thinning effect of the drug.
So what is next with Andexanet?
So the next thing is really quite exciting, is a study where we're actually taking patients who are actively bleeding, who are receiving these blood thinning agents. They're receiving the Andexanet, and we're monitoring the ability of the Andexanet to reverse the blood thinning effect and also to correct the bleeding problem that the patient is suffering from.
What kind of an impact does Andexanet make, in your opinion?
Well, these drugs are very needed, and the reason they're very needed is because the patients who are treated with blood thinners do suffer bleeding complications. Bleeding complications are expensive, they can be medically difficult to manage, and people can die from them. And at the present time, there are no effective antidotes for these new drugs. So although the new drugs are widely used and highly effective for preventing blood clots, a small group of patients will present with bleeding, and we really do need effective reversal agents to correct their blood thinning effect. And to that end, actually, the Food and Drug Administration has actually stated that there's an urgent clinical need for reversal agents. So it's not just the company Portola, which is manufacturing this product, but also the regulatory agencies have also identified the need for a reversal agent.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing your exciting news. Appreciate your time.
Great. Thanks very much.
In conclusion, patients with acute major bleeding associated with the use of a factor XA inhibitor treatment with Andexanet markedly reduced anti-factor XA activity, and 82% of patients had excellent or good hemostatic efficacy at 12 hours as adjudicated according to pre-specific area. Thank you.